I did a Yankees-Orioles game earlier this year, and I think I'd missed by a week or two when Jackson got sent down. And I was just asking Brandon Hyde about it. And I love his answer because he said he had called you and he told me, he's like, Matt was awesome. Said like, well, it's time to go to work and, it's time to figure out what you need to do. So before we kind of get to draft day, I kind of want to go the other way. It's one of your greatest days of your kid's life, right? When you get called up to the big leagues. I know they showed a picture of all you together. And then fast forward 3 weeks later, he felt like he probably couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. And you're sitting here. So Leslie, I want to ask you first, what was it like watching your son go from here to here?
It was tough. And so it was tough it's really hard to describe it honestly, because there was a piece that I had about him, I knew at the end of the day, he's resilient. I know because of what I know about the word of God that I'm not the author and the perfecter of his story. The Lord is. I know that adversity is a life requirement and every one of us are going to experience it in some way, shape or form. I know that like God reigns above it all. And so like, there's things that I know to be true. And then, but you're watching this little guy that you love, you guys are parents, like you can't really articulate how you love your kid. And so watching him experience, failure or just, it was very difficult. And so, that's all there is to it, is that it's just very hard to watch.
And Matt, from a dad's perspective, right, and a guy that played baseball forever, what were those conversations at first like with Jackson?
Yeah, I think that like I talked about, there's a fine line between hey, the mechanics are a little off, you're drifting forward and just trying to help him both, one, mechanically, and then two, his brain, and then trying to figure out how to help him navigate the major leagues for the first time with all this attention. Obviously, the high of getting called up, and we were so excited, and we were here, and he's very even keel, and so even like his conversation with us is like, hey, I'm going up tomorrow to Boston, and so it's like, wait, what? Just like he handles things in such an he just isn't overly emotional about anything, and so. Even when he was struggling, I always felt like he was on the verge of breaking out. Like he's just one swing away, as one swing away of like, oh, there it is. And then being fine. And honestly, I think, look, they're, as an organization, they're trying to figure out when the right time to be like, okay, it's time to go back down. Or, we need to, from what we see, he needs to go make adjustments. In my mind, he was close and, was probably about to, in my mind, maybe I'm biased, obviously, but I could see him, like his mannerisms and his smile and his confidence was coming back. But they made the decision and he went back down, and there's a few little things that I thought he should have, whatever, we can get into the mechanics of it, but it's hard to watch, your son who's very passionate, knows he loves the game, and has all the skills and the ability to be a great player. And it's just kind of that snowball where 1-0, he's getting a call, it's a borderline pitch, probably a ball, it's a strike. And he's fouling off the good pitches to hit. He's getting in bad counts. And so you're watching this and, it's like, ooh, like foul ball straight back. And then the next guy makes a nasty pitch. And then it just was one of those things. He gets a line drive right at somebody. Yeah, like, he just misses the ball. Guy catches it at the wall. So good swings, but on paper, it's another offer. And it's like, it just kind of builds on itself. And as a dad, you're like, oh, just get a twofer, just something to build on to the next day. And he just, like I said, just balls that could have been called balls were called strikes. And so in baseball, that can happen. And it just kind of snowballed on him. And so it's hard to watch as a parent, but like she said, like we trust that, he's so emotionally, for a 20-year-old, like just very, very strong emotionally, always has been, very competitive, like quietly, very, very competitive. And it burns inside of him when he doesn't do well. Like it bothers him. And so I knew that he would be fine, but it is hard to watch.